All right, we're back with some OKD action today. So we've published a stable version of OKD 4.16, and this is a good opportunity to update my single node, which is up there somewhere, there, from 4.15 to the new stable 4.16. So I thought I would just send it for my single node, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll switch over to here. So you can see there I'm running 4.15, so we will go and get the version we're going to upgrade to, which is going to be this one. So we're going to upgrade to this version here. So this is, I just went to the index and got the 4.16 stable, SCOS stable, so that's this one. It was published 3 hours ago, so, let's do this. So we'll copy that. And we'll go over here and we'll do OKD upgrade. I've already typed this out to save myself some time. That one. All right, so we're going to do OKD upgrade. We're going to force it because this isn't an upgrade path. Allow explicit upgrades to this image, and I don't think there'll be any warnings. Let's not add unnecessary things to our command. Let's do it. So we'll just fix any issues that come up, I guess. We'll figure it out. All right, so we'll do OC get PO and open shift cluster version. What are we doing? Oh, this is 37 seconds old, so it's obviously doing stuff. So we'll just follow the logs on that one. Might get deployment. So do OC logs -n and deployment cluster version operator. Oh, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. So it doesn't like the infrastructure declaration. I wonder if it's just going to figure this out. I didn't check these logs in the other one that I upgraded because it just worked. So what's it complaining about? This is the bad thing about following the logs. You can be scared quite easily, and sometimes things just resolve themselves. So I think we might just wait this one out. Oh, that doesn't look good. Ingress IPs must contain at most one IPv4. Oh, I'm going to have to fix it, aren't I? So maybe not. Maybe I do just wait this out. Ingress IPs. I'm inclined to wait it out. So if you haven't seen the community announcement for what's been happening with OKD, I'll leave that linked below. But basically there was a bunch of rel content that was being published as part of OKD releases, and that content is usually reserved for Red Hat customers. So there was a massive effort to rebase all of that onto CentOS Streams and make sure that all of the content that we're shipping as part of OKD is actually upstream and completely available for anyone to access. So as part of this upgrade, we will be going from Fedora CoreOS to CentOS Stream. CoreOS, which isn't as crazy as it sounds. Like if you install CentOS Stream CoreOS from scratch, the first thing you do is download the Fedora CoreOS image, and then it rebases onto a CentOS Stream CoreOS image. So basically the same thing. That's probably, it should probably be the smoothest part. Probably the biggest part here will be that I'm going from 4.15 to 4.16. And it's a pretty big jump. Like this release that I'm on was published back in March. So, we're in August. There's a lot of code that has changed since then. We can probably take this error and just Google it. It might already be reported. It does seem to be reported in this discussion. So let's see what they have to say here about it. So, all right, this could be fun. We're going to force the Kube API server upgrade. All right, so it looks like I'm going to have to do this. Let's see what this is reporting. Does it report that it's still going? Cluster version. So I don't think it's doing anything. All right, so let's do this then. So we'll move this over here. And we'll bring this over here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is scale down our cluster version operator. And the next thing we're going to do for Hypercube is get the release info. We'll pass in the image we're using, which is here. Let's tap up here to make it a bit easier. Okay, is that it? Any other options? Nope. So that's that one. And we'll get the next one is going to be for Cluster Kube API server. Cluster Kube API server. No image. Cluster Kube API server. Did I spell it wrong? API server operator. Just realized that my picture's in the way there. We'll just get rid of my face. My face is less important than what we're doing here. Okay, so that's the image we're going to use. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit the OpenShift Kube API server operator deployments Kube API server operator. And we're going to want to copy this because this is going to be important. So we're going to edit the deployment. We're going to go down and we're going to replace the operator image. So this one here will be that and paste in the new one. Oh, no, didn't work. This one. Paste that one, and I think this one here is the same. It is. So I want to delete that one as well, and we'll replace that. Okay, so replace the operator image, and the other one we need to replace was the Hypercube image. We'll just quickly get out of that. Where's our Hypercube one? Okay. So now we need to edit it again, and now we want to replace this one here. This is the hypercube image. All right, so we'll delete that one and we'll paste in the new one. Now, is that all? Oh, no, that is still OKD content, which is not what I wanted. I want SCOS content. So we copy that, edit our deployment, go down here. Maybe it's easier if I just do value, paste, and we'll delete this one. Okay. Okay, so it's been up for 8 seconds. All right, so we've done that. What else do we need to do? Yep, here in the OpenShift kube API server. Invalid image name. Invalid image name. See if that keeps, yes. All right, I've stuffed something up here. So it can't pass this. Oh, because I copied them from my web browser. Oh, stupid. Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right, have another crack at it. Oh, actually, no, yeah, we're good. We're good. And it's just that one. All right, container creating, terminating. We're not seeing the invalid reference again, so that is good. Okay, so we've gone to completed now. That is fantastic. All right, now we want to scale our cluster version operator again. Scale 1. Okay. All right, we're working towards that again. So let's do logs. Oh. Nasty when the API disappears. Maybe the node's being rebooted already. Yes. Okay, still responding. All right. So I guess the API just went down briefly while it did stuff. So we'll just keep watching and we'll see what happens. So let's go to the logs of the cluster version operator and we'll see. I've been pretty lucky with the errors I've had lately, actually. Everything I've Googled, someone's already found it on GitHub and offered a solution. I had an issue with my work laptop running Fedora Silverblue Rawhide where the update ruined the bootloader. So you would boot and it would quickly flash up with an error and then you'd be into the the UEFI menu. And I Googled it, and like 5 hours earlier than me Googling it, someone had already found it and put the solution up on GitHub. So I was able to just boot into recovery media and basically follow that. I think I'll probably do a video on that as well. I didn't quite follow what the GitHub said, but there's probably some handy troubleshooting things if you get stuck with a Silverblue environment that won't boot. So we'll have a look at that. Okay, cluster version operator seems to be finished. All right, so we've updated the config operator already, so that's great. One is done. Cluster version operator is back up and running. No such errors anymore, so that's fantastic. That little hacking of the Kube API server seems to have done the trick. All right, well, I'll probably pause it here, and then if something comes up, I will come back and we'll figure it out together. All right, let's check back in on this. How are we going? This looks pretty good. So you got CO. All right, a lot of it's upgraded. We've just got machine config and network left. Nodes. Yeah, so I guess node won't be upgraded until the machine config goes. So let's do get all and OpenShift OVN Kubernetes. Anything happening here? Nope. Okay, so network operator is rolling out an update here by the looks of it, so that's cool. Do the get PO again. No. Yep, all right, so we're terminating a few pods in that namespace, so yep, cool. So remember, this is a single node environment, so there's no HA available, so when things like this happen, like networking goes down, I'm probably going to expect an API outage. So nothing to really freak out about yet. We've upgraded OVN Kube by the looks of it. So far, so good. So yeah, like, I mean, the only issue we've run into so far was this one. And I'm glad we did. Like I've said before, like it's really important to not be frustrated when things don't work, but rather to see it as an opportunity to learn something you didn't know before. Like I didn't know I could scale down the cluster version operator and then manually upgrade the Kubernetes API server. That's a cool thing to learn, and I wouldn't have learned it unless this broke. I mean, I did know that you could get the images from the release info, but this is a good thing for, like, if you're doing this upgrade and you didn't know you can do that, that's a good thing to know, because it often is useful just to check where an image is coming from, or find out which commit that the operator's been built from. You know, these things are handy to know if your job is to administer OpenShift clusters. It's good to understand that technology. And at the end of the day, we need to remember that everything that's happening is happening because someone put their hands on a keyboard and wrote the code and told it to do that. So the closer we can get to understanding the intent behind that person who sat behind the keyboard and what they wanted it to do, and then compare that with what's actually happening in our cluster, the more confident we can be in resolving these issues. Like, this single node is quite important to me. I have a bunch of build configs, for example. So whenever I want to build an operator that I'm working on, like at the moment, I'm working on the OpenStack operator, for example, right? And I'm replacing the OpenStack Ansible EE operator with just code in Go, so that it's a library instead of a custom resource. So as I change things, I need to build that operator, deploy it, test it, make sure it works, and then go back to, working on it. So I do that in OpenShift. So I kick off a build, it builds it, it publishes it to my repository, and then I deploy that in multiple test environments and test different scenarios to see how it works. Obviously, I run Unify, and I've got some other things that are running in this node, so I really didn't want it to die. But at the same time, I'm fairly confident that anything that comes up will be able to resolve, short of catastrophic hard drive corruption, file system corruption. I'm pretty confident that we can resolve it and get this upgrade through to the other side. And I think that's the level of confidence you need to get to if your job is to administer OpenShift. You don't want to be afraid of upgrades or deleting a node and adding a new node or making changes to your environment. Same with OpenStack. You don't want to be afraid of running overcloud deploy or, in the new version, updating a node set and deploying different config. You want to have enough understanding of what's actually happening so that you're confident in taking those actions. I think that's really satisfying as well. It's really rewarding for me to have that level of understanding when I can confidently do something, knowing that I know what's supposed to happen, and if it doesn't happen, I'm fairly confident I can figure out why it's not happening at least, and then be able to look into it from there. Admittedly, it would have been really challenging for me to figure out this error if someone hadn't already addressed it on GitHub. I probably would have needed to dig a little bit into what would I have done. I guess I would have gone to the top of that error to see if I could identify any point in the code where it was running and what it might be doing. So if we go through the cluster version operator code, we can see that it basically downloads a new bundle into a file system and then it applies manifests. So I think I would have traced it back to a point where it was trying to apply the infrastructure manifest and then that was failing. And then that would lead me to probably manually try applying that manifest, because you can unpack the bundle. I can unpack the bundle for this release, find the manifest it's trying to apply, and then OC apply -effort and get the same error myself. And then that would have pointed me towards either the OpenShift API server or the Kube API server. They're the only 2 points that can deny that change in schema coming into a cluster. Not sure if I would have manually tried to update the Kube API server, but I think at that point I would have had enough information to reach out to the right people, either through GitHub or on Slack, to figure out what my next step should be. But yeah, the key thing is just understanding what the next step in your troubleshooting process is going to look like and narrow it down to something specific. Because when you go into Slack or Reddit or anywhere and you ask a very broad, high-level question, it's easy for that question to be ignored because there's so many possibilities and no one wants to be stuck walking through each of those steps trying to figure it out, especially when they don't have the ability to put their hands on the keyboard and figure it out. So the closer you can get to the problem with your own troubleshooting, the more likely you're going to be to get the help that you're looking for, I think is what I'm trying to convey. But enough with lecturing people. Let's go back to what we're doing here. So we've got one operator left to upgrade. It's the machine config operator. So I guess at this point, my node is going to need to reboot here somewhere. So we do get all and OpenShift machine config operator. All right, what are we doing here? So we follow along with the logs of the machine config operator. I guess we'll get more information. So we do logs fn, the namespace, deployment, machine config operator. Yeah, so the machine config operator pod here is only 3 minutes old. Machine config's over 30 seconds old. So we've definitely kicked off the upgrade here, which is great. Everything is up and running again. So it's still working. So we can see here it started with that version. So we're running the new version, 4.16. Like here, for example, like issue getting, so this is a string, right? We take this string. I don't think there's any problem here, but just to illustrate the example, we'll take that string, go here, OpenShift, and then machine config operator. We'll just pull down the latest. So we know we're running release 4.16. So we open this up and we do a search in here for our string. There's our string. Okay, so at this point, we can sit here and read through what's supposed to happen at this point. And this is what I mean. Someone wrote this code. It didn't just magically appear here. So there is intent behind this. You can do a git blame and go see what commit added this. And maybe they'll explain in the commit message exactly what they're doing. There's probably a comment. There's a comment here that tells us information about stuff that's in this code right here. So if I was worried at this point, then what I can do is simply read this and see what's supposed to be happening, and then try and make some educated decisions around what my next troubleshooting steps will be. I don't think I need to take any action here at the moment. If we go back here, so we follow along with the logs of the cluster version operator, since we don't see anything in machine config operator. We'll see if any errors are popping up here. Like the machine config operator's been upgraded. It's running the latest version. It's not showing any errors that I think would be causing a problem here. So we'll check with the machine config operator, see what it's waiting for, see if it's showing any errors. If it's not showing any errors, then I just keep waiting. It's always good to wait. Sometimes even if you see an error, you just wait. Just give it at least 20 minutes to see if it figures itself out before we start getting too worried. So here's a failure. What's this? Synchronizing status. What do we do? OC get cluster version. So maybe one thing we can follow along with is the machine config daemon. And it's a daemon set. Machine config daemon. Okay, so here we can see where it's up to. So we just processed elimination. We just looked at what's happening. We saw that there's no activity in the machine config operator, nothing really noticeable in the cluster version operator. So what's the next logical step? Well, we need to upgrade the node itself. So let's check the machine config daemon to see if anything's happening. And there it is. It is running rpm-ostree rebase. So it's rebasing onto the SCOS image. So process of elimination, we work through logically what needs to happen for the machine config to be upgraded. And one of the steps is we need to upgrade the node. So that's how we wind up here. It's doing a rebase. This is probably going to take some time, 1.2 gig. Although I have handy Starlink internet now, so probably not as slow as it used to be. So we'll just wait for that rebase to happen, and then we will check back in and see what's happening. Okay, so the last message there is that my node will go down for reboot. So we can expect this to either be down now, yep, or at least going down. Yeah, we won't SSH in, we don't want to disturb things, so we'll just ping it. We'll see when it comes back online. Looks like we have come back up with CentOS as well. Yep, CentOS Stream CoreOS. That is exactly what we were hoping wouldn't break. No containers yet. We'll follow along here and wait for kubelet to start. Alright, looks like kubelet has started back up. Follow the log specific to kubelet. We'll give that a minute. Okay, well the node's responding again. Alright, so machine config operator still needs to do its thing, so we'll do the OC get all again from the machine config operator namespace. Alright, so it still needs to apply something to that node, it looks like. So let's do OC logs fn on the machine config daemon again. Yes. So it still needs to finish off here. So completing update to target machine config. So waiting for this to finish now. So it's done the RPM OS tree cleanup, which we've looked at before when we did the machine config operator video. You can see there I've still got Tailscale installed, so that's fantastic. I should still be able to connect to it over Tailscale. See if Tailscale is still connected actually. It is? No. Oh, I'm not connected to Tailscale. Cool. Okay, so yep, Tailscale's still working. That is fantastic. I'll just follow along with those logs again. So completing update, certificate syncing. Oh, there we go. So now it's in the desired state for the machine config. It's transitioned to the done state. So now I suspect we should be complete. 84% complete. Okay, so machine cluster version needs to catch up with this. Let's see what cluster version is doing now. Alright, it looks like it might be finished. Boom! There we go. We upgraded. So that is it. We upgraded from 4.15 back in March to 4.16 from the latest stable. And we changed from Fedora CoreOS to CentOS CoreOS. So pretty big upgrade there. As you saw, we ran into one issue that I'll leave linked below. So you can follow the steps in the comments, but you can also reference this video to see exactly how I changed it so that you can get through this upgrade yourself. But pretty easy, really. There was only one issue, which is quite surprising considering how many changes were made to the code between March and now. So that's all I've got today. I hope that is helpful in your journey of upgrading your OKD cluster. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments below on Reddit, Twitter, wherever you want to ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. And I'll see you in the next video.